WrestlePod is supported by viewers like you. To support WrestlePod and the other programs on this channel, visit patreon.com/Ian Beaumont live and direct. From Ian Beaumont, live and direct. This is WrestlePod. Welcome along. Ian Beaumont here. Good to be with you once again. Boy, we sure have had a lot of wrestling this week. Not just, of course, Raw and SmackDown as per normal, but we've had the WWE United Kingdom Championship Tournament for 2018. Pardon me. That was quite a major little event. And we've also had Ring of Honor's Best in the World, which was this past Friday night. Why Ring of Honor do Friday pay-per-views and Saturday pay-per-views, I don't know. But this was the night for both of those. So I'm going to review them all. Let's get into it. So, the first round of matches actually happened not at the championship, but actually ahead of time. One was an NXT taping, the others were at the Download Festival. Drew Gulak faced Gentleman Jack Gallagher at an NXT taping. All of these first round matches were released on YouTube, so nice way to find them. Very technical match, that one. Really liked it, actually. Really appreciated the technical mastery of both guys. But Gentleman Jack Gallagher went through with the pin for victory on Drew Gulak. Then at Download, we had Zach Gibson against Amir Jordan. Gibson made Jordan submit to the Shankly Gates. Flash Morgan Webster against James Drake. James Drake lost there via pinfall with Flash Morgan Webster going on. Tyson T-Bone against Jordan Devlin. Devlin pinned T-Bone for the win. Joe Coffey pinned Tucker in a nice little 7-minute match that was. Really good. Actually, they all were. Dave Mastiff versus Kenny Williams was your classic big guy, little guy tussle. So that was really good. Dave Mastiff obviously getting the pin there. Travis Banks pinned El Ligero in a pretty intense little match. It was only about 5 minutes, but yeah. And then Joseph Connors didn't make it out of the first round this time. He lost to Ashton Smith by pinfall as well. So at the tournament itself, we actually start out. There was a dark match where Amir Jordan faced Joseph Connors and actually defeated him. We didn't see that. But the first match we actually saw. The first match we actually saw was Zach Gibson versus Gentleman Jack Gallagher. First quarterfinal match for the tournament. Surprisingly good. I mean, I have seen Jack Gallagher on 205 Live. I haven't really been overly impressed. But what he's done in the UK Championship Tournament this year, has bumped him up in my estimation. He did lose again to the Shankly Gates submission from Zach Gibson, so Zach went through. Next, you had two big horses. Two massive horses, to be honest with you. Joe Coffey taking on Dave Mastiff. I really was kind of 50-50 on this one. I didn't know who was going to go through. But in the end, a little surprisingly, but then it would have been a little bit of a surprise either way, Joe Coffey actually pulled off the victory on Dave Mastiff, which was a nice surprise. It's hard to think, oh, Dave Mastiff's not gonna win, but at the same time, you look at him up against Joe Coffey, and you really thought, damn, that isn't an obvious favorite. Whichever one wins, it's gonna be a little bit of a surprise. Third quarterfinal, Flash Morgan Webster against Jordan Devlin. I gotta say, really great match. Devlin was pinned, but I'm a little dubious about Morgan Webster's gimmick. Being the mod father. I mean, mods haven't really been that big of a thing since the 60s. And it's kind of... it's kind of following an old Vince McMahon thing here. Old, gimmicks associated with old style music acts that are... or old school styles of music that are nowhere near, that a lot of people today have never heard of. So I just really, I'm not too sure about that gimmick. I'm really not. And last up in the quarterfinals, you had Travis Banks taking on Ashton Smith. The Kiwi Buzzsaw really had a good match here. I was surprised, pleasantly surprised, to see Ashton Smith having a really good match here. I didn't think, I thought Travis was going to just cut right through. But no, but Travis did get the win. And so it was Zach Gibson, Joe Coffey, Flash Morgan Webster, and Travis Banks making it through to the semi-finals. Nobody had a bad match. In fact, I think you could say all of them were like somewhere between 2.5 and 3.5 star matches. Maybe a 4-star in there. Triple threat match now. This match to determine the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship on the next night. This was originally a fatal 4-way. Ginny was one of the competitors. She got injured during the match. The whole match had to be stopped. And so they got everybody out, pulled them back out for, and redid it as a triple threat. So you had Toni Storm, Killer Kelly, and Isla Dawn in a triple threat. And that was a nice little match. Get only about 2.5 stars. I'm not going to say it was spectacular, but it did the job. And that's the main thing. It was a respectable match. No real problems. Toni Storm looked the business, as we knew she would. But to be fair, Killer Kelly and Isla Dawn, I really thought they looked good in this. It sort of took everything up a level. So I was pleased. Oh, excuse my eyes. Oh, dear me. Tired and too much light. Then you get into the semifinals. Zach Gibson, Flash Morgan Webster. I am gonna say this was about a 3-star match. Solid all round. Nothing overly spectacular. But I mean, Flash Morgan Webster, obviously, because Flash is in his name, did some flashy moves, but I really didn't think overall too much about it. It was not the kind of match that had like everything in it. They were not hanging everything out, and Zach Gibson locks in Shankly Gates to get the submission victory. Next up, Travis Banks, Joe Coffey. This was brutal, I felt. Looking at the combatants in the match, it felt quite brutal while watching it. I'm probably going to say it's somewhere around 3.5 stars. But Travis Banks gets the win by pinfall. And then the only thing that probably I'm going to say is a slight knock. You did the old Joe Coffey attacking Travis Banks after the match bit again. Which I have to admit, I thought, oh, you did that last year. Why do that again? A little disappointed in that. A little too, not so much predictable, but it was like, yeah, it's a little lazy. But then, oh man, match of the night, without question. 5 stars, all the stars. British Strong Style, Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne, Trent Seven against Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, baby, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. Yeah, 5-star match, without question. Man, those guys really know how to put on a show. Good God, do they know how to put on a show. I don't want to even try to go through all the pinfalls and the big moves and all that, because God, I'd be here forever. I don't want to be doing another hour-long masterpiece. Suffice to say that there were some amazing moments. And eventually British Strong Style got the pinfall win, which then set up Mustache Mountain taking on the Undisputed Era for the NXT Tag Team Championship on the next night, and I'll talk about that shortly. Finally, we get to the tournament final to determine the number 1 contender for the WWE United Kingdom Championship. Travis Banks, Zach Gibson. Oh boy. This one was pretty brutal again. Travis Banks, I think, was the first person to either block or get to the ropes on Shankly Gates. When Zach tried to apply Shankly Gates, I can't can't quite remember if he blocked it or just got to the ropes, but he was one of those who didn't tap out straight away. There weren't many. I love that, but yeah, eventually, in the flip from last year where the babyface overcame the odds, not this time, Zach Gibson finally does manage to look at him properly. The tap out comes, and Zach Gibson is your new number one contender to take on Pete Dunne the next night for the WWE United Kingdom Championship. So, during that first night, of course, the reveal was made that NXT UK would be making its debut. The first tapings coming up July 28th, 29th, the Cambridge Corn Exchange. They're also going other parts. They're going to Plymouth. I'm going a couple of other places too. Yeah, that was a big deal. And so you have now you have a general manager, Johnny Saint. That will be quite something. So then you had on night 2 something called NXT UK Championship, which, to be honest with you, I mean, it was basically an NXT takeover, but with a few other things thrown in. Dark match beforehand where Ligero defeated Mike Hitchman. Of course, we didn't see that. But then, start the night off, you had Mustache Mountain, Tyler Bate, Trent Seven, taking on Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong from the Undisputed Era for the NXT Tag Team Championship. I gotta say, after the 5-star match they had before, I was fully expecting this one to fall a little bit flatter, mainly because you're wrestling 2 nights on the trot. It's not likely you're going to be able to, but man, did they go. God. They pulled out all the stops again, as if something could be possible. But it was, and they did. And by all accounts, they absolutely killed it. But eventually, Mustache Mountain pick up the pinfall. And I'm like, oh my god. And they become NXT Tag Team Champions. Didn't expect that. Next we had what was basically a UK women's division match. Killer Kelly taking on Charlie Morgan. Having only seen Killer Kelly the night before and been moderately impressed by her, I didn't know anything about this Charlie Morgan. Oh boy, she was impressive too. Not the same standard as the match before, but come on, that would be damn hard. But yeah, Charlie Morgan picks up the pinfall to win. It was quite a nice little match in between. Probably about 2.5, 3 stars. If I were to rate them properly, I'd work it out. But yeah, it was about 2.5, 3 stars. Nice match. Earlier that day, they were setting up a new number one contenders match, because obviously Zach Gibson was having his match that night. So they decided to set up a new number one contenders match for probably the first night of NXT UK. And that was to feature Travis Banks, Flash Morgan Webster, and Mark Andrews. Well, those three make it out to the ring, and then we get Johnny Saint coming out and saying was now going to be a fatal four-way, or as he called it, a four-way fatal. And out, to everyone's surprise, nobody expected to see him, out came Noam Dar. I mean, it's basically the same situation we had with the Hardy Boys back at WrestleMania 33, except it wasn't it wasn't one guy coming off, it wasn't two guys coming back into the motion. It was one guy coming off injury, but we still weren't expecting to see him. I mean, the roof blew off. Did it ever? But that was an intense old match, and Noam Dar picks up the victory to go through to become the next number one contender. Wow. Next up, you had Adam Cole defending his NXT North American Championship against Wolfgang. Oh boy, another brutal match, this one. I mean, Wolfgang does moves that you just don't expect a man his size to do. But man, does he pull them off. However, Adam Cole just sneaks out the victory. What I say was about a 4-star match. It was pretty good. Match of the night came up next. Kind of a special exhibition match with Aleister Black, the NXT champion, teaming up with Ricochet, the one and only, to take on EC3 and Velveteen Dream. All I can say was, oh my god. If you thought Mustache Mountain versus Undisputed Era was great, this one was just whoa. 5 stars, all the stars. They just killed it that night. But a really fun bit when Velveteen Dream had been injured at some point. He was hobbling on his leg. And EC3 was coming over to make the tag, but Velveteen Dream was hobbling away just before he got to the corner. And he kind of got down off the apron, hobbled his way to the back, and EC3 standing there in the ring, watching him, and shouting after him. And right behind him, so just poised, waiting to strike, is Aleister Black. And EC3 eats a black mash. 1, 2, 3. Oh boy! That was a beautiful little story beat. How, of course, there's no honor among thieves. So yeah, Aleister Black and Ricochet getting the win. That in a beautifully formatted match with a beautifully told story. Top notch. Then we had the NXT Women's Championship match with Shayna Baszler defending against Toni Storm. I have to... Baszler is improving, but I can only give this somewhere between 2 and 2.5 stars. because she still needs a lot of work, and having her as a champion is not helping her right now. She really needs to lose the title to have a bit of time to actually improve her game, because it's good as far as it goes, but it doesn't go nearly far enough. She's nowhere near ready, in my view, for main roster. But she held her own reasonably well. Toni Storm looked much better. But Baszler pulled the old, leave him out there for the count out. Toni Storm gets counted out. Therefore, Shayna Baszler wins the match and technically retains her championship. But, I mean, I felt that was... I can't say poor booking, but I would definitely say it was kind of, you almost expected there to be a count out or disqualification win here, not a clean pinfall or a submission or anything like that. Yeah, wasn't impressed. Finally, we get on to the main event of the night. Pete Dunne, Zach Gibson for the WWE United Kingdom Championship. This was a great match. I would have to say 4.5 stars upwards. I wouldn't put it quite above Black Ricochet EC3 Dream, but it was way up there. Pete Dunne got to the ropes twice to break up Shankly Gates. Eventually hits his finisher. 1, 2, 3. Pete Dunne retains the WWE United Kingdom Championship. Man, that was a hell of a match. Overall, I think the whole event, I think if I'm going to grade it, I think I'd grade it A-. Couple of weak points, but they weren't so weak that they dragged everything down. They just didn't didn't do enough to kind of bump it up to that A level for me. Yeah, A-. Brilliant. Well done, WWE. Okay, so on Friday night, Ring of Honor had their their big events, pay-per-view events, at the UMBC Event Center in Cantorsville, Maryland. Except they always refer to it as Baltimore. I hate that. I hate that on on wrestling when you say it's one place and it's not. You know, they called it the UMBC Event Center in Baltimore, Maryland. No, it's Catonsville, Maryland. I haven't really seen a hell of a lot of Ring of Honor. Not in terms of events like this. So I really had a little basis to go on. The last time I watched a Ring of Honor event was Supercard of Honor. And I really because it was mixed in with Takeover and WrestleMania, I think I just was I just wasn't in the right mindset to kind of try and appreciate it. So I've watched it. Mixed feelings on this. You had the Kingdom taking on, or defending, I should say, the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Team Championship belts against LIJ, Los Ingobernables. Oh, God. I always struggle with this. Los Ingobernables de Japón. So you have Matt Taven, TK O'Ryan, and Vinny Marseglia taking on Bushi, Evil, and Sanada for Six-Man Tag Team Championships. Quite a good opener. Kind of surprised me, that one. Six-man tags, always good. But really surprised me how good these guys were. Both teams were heels. So there was no heel-face dynamic here. Really surprised me how good that was. But eventually the Kingdom get the win. And, yeah. Surprisingly good. That's all I can say. Next up, Flip Gordon, Bully Ray. This is a little something that I honestly don't like. Because, Bully Ray's been kind of... He came into Ring of Honor as kind of some authority figure. And basically, he's... since Supercard of Honor, he's basically turned on the company as a whole. Flip Gordon was his latest victim, and so this match happened as a result of that. Flip Gordon got off to the hot start, just as it needed to be. But then Bully Ray hits about 2 moves, and one of them ends up immediately with the referee throwing out the match and the disqualification. No. So Flip Gordon wins by the DQ, but it looks like this Bully Ray versus Ring of Honor thing is going to keep on going, and honestly, after seeing it at Supercard of Honor, I didn't like it there. I don't like it now. I'm already bored of it. Get rid of that. Get rid of Bully Ray at this point. I want to see it. Next up, you had an 8-woman tag match featuring the Women of Honor champion Sumi Sakai and Jenny Rose, Mayu Iwatani, and Tennille Dashwood on one side, and on the other side, Kelly Klein and a 3-woman tag team group from Stardom called Uido Tai. I hate tough pronunciations. Made up of Hazuki, Kajutsu, and Hanakamura. Sumi, Jenny, Mayu, and Tennille were the good girls. Kelly and Uido were the heels. The good girls come through. It wasn't a great match, but it did the job. It was about 2.5 stars. Flip Gordon, Bully Ray, 1 star. Kingdom, LIJ. Somewhere between 3.5 and 4 stars, give or take. Surprisingly good. Austin Aries, Kenny King. The opening package for this actually kind of really helped sell me on what this feud was all about. And they told a brilliant story in the match. Kenny King wasn't willing to go to, all out. Austin Aries would, and did, and ended up getting in the Brainbuster to pin Kenny King for the win. I gotta give this one 4 stars. I mean, I've known Austin Aries has been good for years. I've known Kenny King has been good for years. Those two just really delivered. Jay Lethal Kushida, I'm going to say this one was match of the night. Because I'm giving it over 4 stars. I can't say for certain how much over, but probably about 4.25. Maybe 4.5. Although I get the sense that's maybe pushing it a little bit. But man, these two went at it. But eventually, it was the longest match of the night as well. 17 minutes, 36 seconds. But Lethal hits Lethal Injection to pick up the 1, 2, 3. And then he says at this point now he feels like he can go for the he's overcome his defeats to all the previous people that have defeated him, so he feels like he can go on to challenge for the championships now. So we'll see. We're getting to the other title matches now. Punishment Martinez, Adam Page for the in a Baltimore street fight for the World Television Championships, Ring of Honor's World Television Championship. I gotta say, ooh, this was brutal. Hard to watch at times, just because of the brutality they brought to it. I'm going to give the match about 3 stars, maybe a little more, because, quite honestly, there was some good moments in this match, and nothing was really bad about it. But, yeah. It was brutal. Lots of table spots, chair spots, and of course we had thumbtack spots as well. A thumbtack spot for sure. But yeah, finally, I think Punishment Martinez put Adam Page through a table. 1, 2, 3. Martinez retains the television championship. Did very well. It was a surprisingly good match. Next up, the 2 potentially biggest tag teams in Ring of Honor history. The Briscoes, the Young Bucks, for the World Tag Team titles. I honestly thought the Young Bucks were going to win here. There were several occasions where it looked like they were going to do it, but eventually the Briscoes do pull out the victory. It was a long match. It was only just over the 17-minute mark, so not quite as long as Lethal Kushida. But man, that went on a long time. So really impressed. Well done. Finally, we had Dalton Castle, Cody, and Marty Scurll in a triple threat 3-way match for the Ring of Honor World Championship. This was an overbooked clusterfox. That's what stands out, because here's the thing. I'm going to go into a little detail here. I haven't deliberately haven't gone into much detail, mainly because mostly you can watch them for yourself. You just want to know my views. But this was overbooked. At ringside, sitting at ringside, you had Nick Aldis, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, with the belt. I knew he was there supporting Marty Scurll. I knew that without the commentators even needing to tell me that him and Marty have been friends for a long time. I already knew that. Dalton Castle had his two boys out at ringside. Cody had Brandy, his wife, of course. And Bernard, the business bear, came out with them, but Cody sent Bernard to the back. Don't quite get that. But yeah, there was one point in the match, quite late on, where there was all sorts of weird stuff going on. Nick Aldis was getting involved. Brandy was getting involved. Dalton's boys were getting involved. And referee Todd Sinclair just turned around to all of them and just went, you, get out of here. At that point, I thought, whoa, you have really overbooked this. But to be fair, they actually all did go to the back and nobody came out again, which I was expecting, I have to admit. I thought Cody was picking up the win. In fact, Dalton Castle retained. Kind of just barely by my view, but he retained, and it means that if there is any setup for Cody versus Nick Aldis at All In, it's going to happen probably on ROH television. Because Death Before Dishonor, the next big pay-per-view event, that isn't until September. September the 28th at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm really hoping that we get something on ROH TV on the Fight app that will tell us, that will set, so maybe there's going to be a World Championship match, maybe there's going to be, I don't know. But who knows what's going to happen between now and the 1st of September when All In happens. We'll see. Anyway, that's Best in the World, and that's WrestlePod. Like this video, share it with your friends on social media, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us on Facebook as well, facebook.com/WrestlePod IBLND. Find us on Patreon as well, patreon.com/Ian Beaumont Live and Direct, where you can get some exclusive rewards and bonus content, and a lot more besides. Till next time, stay sharp, stay tuned.